The Samsung Galaxy S25 is a rare phone. And what I mean by that? Well, there's just not a lot of phones in this space that offer the latest and greatest chipset, Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, flagship level performance, and itty bitty package. Like normally you got to get a lot bigger phone to get the flagship stuff, and I think that's one of the reasons why these phones sell particularly well. Yes, we know the Ultra series sells really well. The S24 Ultra last year sold incredibly well, but it's a big, massive phone, and it also has a big, massive price tag of $1,299. Not everybody wants to spend that, but not everybody. People don't want to compromise, but they don't want to spend that much money, and that's where the S25 comes in at a real sweet spot, and I think it's going to sell well this year too, just like the S24 did last year. I think the S25, it sold, of course, over 10 million phones. I think about like 15 million or so, and then the S24 Ultra did, and then the S24, I think it was like 11 million or something like that. But anyway, whether my numbers are right or not, I know they both sold really, really well. And it's funny because in comparison, the Plus model, it only sells about 5 or 6 million. So the real emphasis is people either want to go big or go home, or they want one of these guys. And I think that's fair because if you take a look around in the Android sector, there's not much at this price point. You can get that's full flagship level. It's got 3 cameras, all that great stuff, but it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. You've got the Pixel 9 Pro, but it's $1,000. And then you've got the S25, which is $799, and actually you can get it on sale for $699 right now. But what's more interesting is they're almost completely sold out at Samsung. So this phone comes in 2 different storage configurations. You can get it in 128. At Samsung, it's completely sold out in that model. Can't get it. And you can't even, it's not even back ordered. It's just sold out, which is crazy to me. And then if you want to get the 256 model, it's only available in blue. All the other colors are sold out. So that tells me that this phone is pretty popular and that it's a good phone. Now, the only real criticism that people have, actually, there's a few. People criticize the 25-watt charging. People criticize that it doesn't have really, it doesn't have flagship level cameras, I guess. I mean, it does, but they're from a few years ago. It's basically been rocking with the same camera since the S22, and that is definitely the biggest criticism. Of course, it's got 25-watt charging is fine, I think, because it only has a 4,000 milliamp battery. It's a smaller package. It's not something that you want to generate a bunch of heat. You don't want to degrade the battery quality over time, so I get it. And the phone pretty much lasts all day. It's got a 1080p screen, and it's got this beautiful 2-time Samsung AMOLED display, 2600 in its brightness, and it's got Gorilla Glass Victus 2. Now, I wish it had the Gorilla Glass armor because we get that anti-reflective coating. This doesn't have the anti-reflective coating. I wish it did. Samsung relegates that to the Ultra only. But, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I do wish that it had it. So, 6.2-inch screen. This thing only weighs, I believe it's 163 grams. And if you compare that to the Pixel 9, the Pixel 9 weighs just under 200 grams, which is, I believe, it's about 197. And there's a significant difference. Like, you pick this up, and even though there's only a 0.1-inch screen size between this and the Pixel 9, this one feels tremendously lighter. And it has these tiny bezels on there. It's got a good selfie camera. It's got a decent set of cameras on the back. They're good. I wouldn't call them great. They're very good. And they've been around for a while. I mean, really the only change has been the image signal processor and the Snapdragon 8 Elite and a little bit more optimization. And I mean, when you're going to be happy with the photos, but it's certainly not winning any awards. It's not up there with the Pixel 9. The Pixel 9 is industry leading. The S25, not so industry leading with the 50 megapixel camera. The 200 megapixel camera does have some extra benefits in the Ultra, but again, you're getting this phone for $799 or on sale for $699, which I think is a really good deal. And of course, if you can get it through Samsung, they're offering up to $500 trade-in credit. So if you've got an S24 or a very similar phone, you can get max trade-in credit. You can get $500 off, which drops it down pretty good. Year-over-year upgrade for about $200 is pretty solid if you can get one, but that's the problem. You got to be able to get one, right? So it does have wireless charging as well, and then it's also got stereo speakers. The speakers on here are good. It's got the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which is top of the line, the best you can get in a phone. Facial recognition, 7 years of updates. So you get 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches, and it's available at all the carriers. That's one of the great things about the Samsung phones is you can get them at T-Mobile, you can get them at Verizon, you can get them at AT&T, you can get them pretty much everywhere. because they're the gold standard for Android, especially here in the United States, where we don't have Xiaomi and Oppo and Vivo to compete with, which make very, very good phones, but they aren't traditionally as good when it comes to the software, security, reliability, and all those different things for the long term. So you get 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches. That's monthly. Monthly security patches, not bi-monthly, none of that crazy stuff. Samsung's usually pretty Johnny on the spot, other than the little black eye they got this go around because Android 15 and One UI 7 still aren't available for the S24 series from last year. Still riding with the original update. Still not available for the Z Fold 6 or the Z Flip 6. But Samsung did make an announcement. It's finally coming out on April the 7th. So you won't have to wait any longer if you've got one of those three phones. Well, really, all the S24s, the Z Fold 6, and the Z Flip 6. And then it's supposed to be available in the coming weeks. But focusing on the S25, I think it's probably the king of the small flagship phones. I do like what you have with the Pixel 9. I love the Pixel 9 Pro, and I love the camera capabilities. The camera definitely takes better pictures. But whenever it comes to, you've got 8K video here, 2430 frames per second. You've got Gorilla Glass Victus. You've got the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. You've got the Snapdragon 8 Elite. And that's probably one of the big things there is that Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. When you look at the benchmarks, if you care about those, and I know people do because I hear about it every time I make a Pixel video, then you're going to gravitate naturally towards this because, yes, on paper, when you take a look at the benchmarks, it does thoroughly beat the Tensor 4. Also, I have to remind you that the Tensor 4 is competitive against the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, which still beats it by the benchmarks, but we'll wait and see what the Tensor 5 has in store for us, made by TSMC, working with Google, first one not made by Samsung, and people expect it'll probably be better. How much better will remain to be seen, but the S25 series, it is definitely the flagship standard bearer for Android for this year. It's only been out for about 2 months now, and it's even 2 months now. I mean, it's like I said, the 128 is sold out on Samsung as of the making of this video, which is really, really impressive to me. And I've really enjoyed using this phone. It's one that's nice. It's easy to hold. You can use it one-handed. Of course, you've got DeX. You've got wireless DeX still available to you. And this is a great alternative for even the iPhone. If you've been disillusioned with the iPhone and their failures and their Apple Intelligence lies and all those things and want to try something else, maybe a little bit different flavor, they've changed things up. One UI 7 looks really nice. The animations are smooth. The experience is nice. I like the way the icons look. They've done a really good job polishing, refining, and refurbishing One UI, which is their version of Android. So you get the latest with Android 15, and I think it's a fantastic alternative to iPhone. It's a nice jump over if you want to try something other than the iPhone, which, you know, the iPhone 16, like a 6.1 inch screen, I believe, 6.1, 6.2. This one's 6.2. And then the Pixel 9, you have it 6.3. But this one is, I think, overall a better package. I think you've got the high refresh rate. If you look at the iPhone 16, 60 hertz refresh rate. It's got a lesser quality screen. It's not as bright. This one, of course, has got more RAM too, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 3 cameras on the back, 120 hertz refresh rate, beautiful AMOLED display. So in the features department, this kills the iPhone 16, and it's even cheaper, especially while it's on sale. And of course, you've got that Snapdragon 8 Elite to rely on. You can play all your high-end games. You can play Genshin Impact. You can play Call of Duty Mobile. You can play Warzone Mobile. You can play all that stuff without a hitch. And it's something that is an enjoyable experience too, because it's nice, lightweight, fits in the pocket, doesn't break the bank nearly as much as the Ultra or even the Plus, which is more expensive. But that's the great thing. This has the same chip as the Ultra. You can get the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor in both of these phones, but look, it's significantly smaller and it's amazingly easy to use one-handed. So if you want the whole one-handed life, smaller form factor, and don't want a big gigantic phone, this is probably king of the small flagship phones. So that's all I've got. I just wanted to do a follow-up video on this. I haven't really touched on it in a while, but I've really been enjoying this phone and I like it. And if you're interested in something like this, you'll probably like it too. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please, of course, go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.